Danke, Andreas. The next one will be Kenny van Minzel from Belgium, and he will be followed by Andrew Buff from the UK.
Thank you, Mrs. President. My name is Kenny van Minzel. I'm the Youth Delegate from Belgium. I would like to thank Ms. Renström for her report and the open-mindedness she displayed. I want to say that I fully support her measures to ensure a culture of human rights. If I were born in Russia, I would not be able to continue my work as a head counselor in my local youth group because the laws of the Russian Federation claim that I am unhealthy for a child and for its development. If I were born in Bulgaria and I were killed because somebody wanted to, and I quote, cleanse the area of gays, charges against this killer would not mention any notion of hate. They would simply state hooliganism. If I were born in Romania, my work as a local politician would be futile and ignored, because me being gay means that some of those citizens, actually most of those citizens, don't take me seriously enough, even though me being gay is just a mere fraction of my identity. I now name 3 members of this Congress, but who don't act against hatred against LGBTI, and sometimes even go as far as approving it. But there are more members. Members of these countries have congratulated me several times during the sessions of this Congress on my interventions as a youth delegate. Now that I am clearly stating that I am a gay youth delegate, suddenly that scenario seems unlikely to happen again, because they continuously use the argument of culture and tradition to justify their homophobic actions. I firmly believe that nothing justifies discrimination. I want to ask you, dear members, will you treat the hard work Mrs. Renström provided us as just a scrap of paper, like you did with numerous international texts? If so, what is the credibility of your support to Congress if this document gets approved? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Kenny. And Andrew, it's your turn. And Lucette Wagner-Kroon from the Netherlands will be following him.
Say that if ever there was a proof that we need young voices in the Congress, that was it. I'm very grateful to Yumi for starting this report. It was based on, I believe, the genesis of the report was based on the fact that many countries are trying to limit the right for LGBT people to demonstrate and be visible. And it's important, I think, to try and embrace the arguments that motivate those laws that are currently going through different parliaments or indeed in some places have been adopted. They worry that young people would be forced to be something that they are not if they found out that someone could be happy loving someone of the same gender. They worry about young people learning that people who were unhappy with the gender identity they were born to, could be happy changing it. They worry that perhaps that will be a motive for them to go against their nature. And I think we need to address that. They worry that young people will change if they are bombarded by homosexual propaganda. May I say, Congress, I have been bombarded for 57 years with heterosexual propaganda. Congress, it hasn't worked. Perhaps I just need to give it more time. The fact of the matter is that propaganda does not change your nature. And it is the right of everybody to live happily to their nature. It is their right not to have to hide. And it is their right to lead the life that makes them happy. And this is what this report is fundamentally about. And I'm afraid it's those principles that are not being grasped in many member states of the Council of Europe. No awful thing will happen by allowing gay people to express their happiness. by allowing lesbians to walk down the street hand in hand. No dreadful thing will happen to allow a demonstration to take place to say and give a message to perhaps young people to say, if you are worried about your sexuality, there is no need to be worried that our community embraces you. And finally, I'd like to say that it just is in the form of a question, I'd like to know from Mr. Chakotay what his view is of the legislation that's being passed in Hungary, Russia and Lithuania. I'd be very grateful to hear his response. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And the next one is Lucette, followed by Benedikt Grabner from Austria.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, first of all, Mrs. Renström, for your good work on this subject. I'm not going to give you, as a mayor of a Dutch municipality, I'm not going to give you good examples from our country, but I want to address all of you as colleagues. It is in the municipalities where lesbians, homosexuals, bisexuals and transgenders need to be able to feel free, like everyone else, and feel safe. That is where appreciation and acceptation takes place. So there, close to the people, is where prejudices and discrimination needs to be addressed. I really wish to call on all Congress members to advocate towards the national government to ensure that there are laws in place that protect the rights of LGBTs. At the same time, I also call upon all Congress members to ensure that within their community there is attention for acceptation of LGBT, for inclusion and to fight discrimination. I appreciate the fact that the report stresses the need to exchange good practices of cities through networks such as the Rainbow City Network at the European level. Cooperation at local level between police, school institutions and municipality is important to ensure that civil servants are trained to avoid discrimination of LGBT. But ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, what I would like to ask attention for, I think that we, local elected officials, have a very important role to play in expressing over and over again in all different public meetings that we attend that we condemn discrimination of LGBT. We are the ones that can give the example. Let us do that. And I, for a person, I very much love happy gay people walking around. And maybe I can use this opportunity to address you, Mrs. Chair, Mrs. Moser-Turnstrom, for a proposal. It may already be the case, but I'm not sure. And if not, I would strongly suggest to place a rainbow flag with the others outside in front of our palace. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We have taken note of your proposal and we will talk about this. And the next one is Benedikt Grabner from Austria and then Juliana Hoxha from Albania.